Hey, welcome to Q&A, where you ask your questions on faith and life, and I do my best to give a biblical perspective. Today's question comes out of the message on Sunday. If you missed that, then it's on the YouTube channel there. I encourage you to take a look. Here's the question. You said we increase our faith by doing works. I thought faith comes by hearing and obeying the Lord, walking with Him, learning to trust Him through hard times. Right up front, let me say, I agree with you. Faith comes by hearing. That's what Paul says in Romans 10, verse 17. But as we hear it, we need to act on it. We need to obey it. And so it sounds like we're actually both in agreement. We're both saying the same thing. What I actually said on Sunday was that we build our faith by exercising it, but by living out of it. And that does take work. Work isn't always a bad thing. When we think of faith and works, we should never fall into the trap of thinking work equals salvation. Otherwise, we're going to become accidental Pharisees because we're going to read things or hear things inappropriately. The works of faith are very biblical. For example, Jesus said that if we have faith in Him, we will do greater works than He did. Not think greater things, not believe greater things, but we would do greater things. That's work. James chapter 2 verse 6, he essentially says that faith without works is no faith at all, because it's one thing to believe, it's another thing to act on that belief, and that act is actually a work. Faith is like a muscle in many ways. It has to be worked in order to grow, which was the point of Sunday's message, that if you want to grow your faith, live out of your faith, use what faith you have in obeying God and trusting God. This doesn't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Lord, I believe you, therefore I will. Those are all the works of faith. That's how we grow our faith. It's not just a case of believing, it's a case of acting on that belief. That's why I say that the works of faith are very biblical. And if we're not careful, when we hear works, we can fall into the trap of equating it to salvation, and then we get defensive and we're missing the whole point. You know, I love what Peter, let me just bring it up in 2 Peter chapter 1, beginning about verse 5. Let me bring it up on my computer here. Okay, he says, for this very reason, make every effort to add, that's a work, to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness mutual affection, and to mutual affection love. Why? For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive. That's work again in your knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. You know, and I think this passage in Peter is a beautiful picture of what happens when we do exercise our faith. Goodness is developed, for example, by serving others. It's not just believing, it's by acting out of that belief. That's a work. And when we do that, we develop goodness. Knowledge is gained by the discipline of study. Knowledge doesn't come just by believing. It comes by the discipline of study. You can contemplate the navel lint that you have as much as you want, but it's not going to grow your faith. It's not going to increase your knowledge. You have to study. You have to the discipline of engaging your mind, which is a work. Self-control is another action or work. And what Peter's reminding us, that if we exercise our faith, if our faith finds practical expression by the way we live out of it, by the way we do things with it, let it shape the way that we live our lives, which is a work, then we become more effective in bearing witness to Jesus Christ. And that's always got to be the goal of faith. It's not about a personal thing. We believe personally, but we now live on behalf of other people. We live our faith for the benefit of others, to make a way for them to come into a saving knowledge of Jesus as well. And that's why I took the position I did, quoting Jesus. We grow our faith by using what we have. So I hope that clarifies it for you. As always, you can ask your questions on slido.com. Use the hashtag ALC23. Would love to hear from you. But that's it for now. Until next time, God bless.